Alright guys, what's going on? It's Ethan from East End Angler here. I cannot tell you how excited I am to make this video for you guys right now. With the help from our friends at West Marine, Abyss Batteries, and Sea Swivel, I am about to install a 96-inch 36-volt Rodan trolling motor on the bow of my 34 regulator. I've been eyeing these products for a really long time. I've done the lead acid, trolling motor install in the past and have wanted to always get a lithium system on my boat, and Abyss just came out with this really cool Infinite Series bundle that is about the easiest plug-and-play system that you could possibly get for your boat. Super safe, super easy. I am no electrician, but I'm going to be able to do it in a day here, and coupling that with the Sea Swivel mount is absolutely the best way to install a trolling motor on your boat in 2025. Super excited. Thank you guys from West Marine, Abyss Batteries for helping sponsor this video, and I'm just going to walk you through what we got going here. And let's talk a little bit about trolling motors and what we're going to use them for in the offshore world. So, trolling motors have been around forever in the freshwater world, and I'd say probably 15 years ago now, people started bringing them into the saltwater space. A trolling motor is perfect for any time that you would basically need a stationary boat. It's a perfect replacement for a traditional anchor. So, we use trolling motors pretty much every day in our fishing and all of our bottom fishing. Sometimes we're anchoring in 300 feet of water, and it's really hard to position a boat exactly where you want it. When you have a GPS anchor trolling motor, you can basically position the boat, within the foot of where you want to be on a piece of structure or reef. Say you want to move a little bit because maybe the fish have moved from current tide or current conditions, you can jog over to one side of the reef, jog over to the other side of the reef, and really optimize your fishing operation. You can fish way more spots because you're not pulling up all of this anchor all the time, and it just makes the whole thing way easier and way more efficient. So for us, time is money, right? If we're anchoring all the time, 300 feet pulling and then redeploying, pulling, redeploying, we're just not going to be able to cover as much water as we would if we have the trolling motor system. Some of the applications that you can only use a trolling motor for, right? Deep dropping. We'll deep drop anywhere from, 400 to 1,500 feet of water sometimes. And if I mark fish and I've got, a really specific area that I want to be targeting, call it a small area. Maybe it's 100 by 100 feet where I'm getting bites, right? Once I get a bite, I can deploy the trolling motor and I can just sit on that spot, drop and reel, instead of making consecutive drifts over that spot, and you only get one or two presentations to those same fish. So it really is a game changer, not only for fishing, even for pleasure boating. People want to jump in the water really quick, just deploy the trolling motor and you're good to go. Trolling motors have come a really long way in the last 15 years since they got introduced. They get bigger and bigger every year, and as trolling motors have gotten more sophisticated, the battery systems and the mount systems that are associated with said trolling motors have had to scale up, level up. Abyss has been a big pioneer in this industry, in this channel, this category. Abyss makes all sorts of lithium battery products, from electric reel batteries, kite reel batteries, mobile power stations, everything you can possibly imagine, 12 to 36 volt. But they just came out with this 105 amp hour Infinite Series, which is literally the sickest trolling. It's the sickest battery that you could possibly make. It is a all-in-one system. Everything comes plug and play. I'll walk you through some of the features of this new system and what comes in the box when you order the thing. And if you haven't heard about Sea Swivel, then you just haven't been researching, trolling motor batteries for the offshore world. Sea Swivel was developed by some of the guys at Sea Hunter, and it is the highest quality trolling motor mount that exists on the market right now. What does a Sea Swivel do? I'll show you guys, in practice. It'll be a lot easier to understand. But basically, it allows you to have a mount that swivels and allows you to deploy the trolling motor from within the boat, right? So if I'm out there in 3 to 4 foot seas, I don't really want to be climbing on the bow of my boat. It's not safe, it's not efficient, and honestly, it's just not the best way to do it. So Sea Swivel created a swiveling mount that allows you to store the trolling motor, up and down your gunnel. You can preserve your rod holders. You can kind of customize where you actually want it to sit on the bow of the boat. But then when you're ready to deploy it, you just swivel it out from within the boat and deploy it, as one man. It's super easy, right? I can't tell you the amount of times that I've almost fallen off the bow of my boat trying to deploy a traditional trolling motor mount, but with the Sea Swivel, I don't think that's really going to be an issue anymore. So again, I can't tell you how excited I am to show you these products. Abyss, Sea Swivel, West Marine, you guys are the best. Super excited by this, and hope you guys enjoy. All right, guys, we have everything out of the box, and I want to show you what comes in the Infinite bundle and then what also comes in the Sea Swivel bundle. So right here we have our Seal 105 amp hour lithium battery. This is the heart and soul of the entire system. This is really the most innovative piece of trolling motor technology that's come out in a really long time, right? So this is a 105 amp hour lithium battery. It is IP67 waterproof. It has patented quick connects. It makes it really easy to snap on and snap off all of your connections. It has a base that will screw into the bottom of the boat. And then these really handy dandy straps that will strap in the entire thing. And if you ever need to take it out for whatever reason, you can just unstrap it, unhook all of your harnesses, all of your wiring, and it comes in and out. You know, people have always been worried about safety for lithium batteries. Abyss took every precaution you could possibly imagine to make this the safest system possible. It has fire protection, so automatic turn off, automatic turn on, depending on when your battery is completely finished charging. Again, like I said, it's IP67 waterproof. I'll show you there is a breaker on it as well, which I don't know any other batteries that have integrated breakers on them, but it really is an all-in-one system. It's foolproof, dummy-proof. It's super safe. It even has an integrated app so that you can check all of your battery voltages, your charging, and then also any alarms that might be associated with what's going on with your battery. Speaking of the app, if you don't want to use the app, this whole system comes also with this cool little screen. This is going to connect to pretty much every component of the system, the battery itself, the AC charger, the bidirectional charger. It's all going to connect through this one little screen, one push of the button, and everything turns on, turns off. And again, this is somewhere that you can manually monitor everything that you would see in the app, your voltages, charging, whatnot. There's nothing worse than going out to the spot and thinking that everything is charged. I've had it happen multiple times when I was running lead acids. Couldn't monitor the health of my battery unless I put a voltmeter on, which I would never remember to do. Get out to the spot, your trolling motor is not charged, and you are going back to using a traditional anchor. This is all of your connection cables. Everything is or your communication cables rather, everything is super easy, super well labeled. So this is going to connect all of the different systems together, let them communicate with the monitor that I just showed you. And then I have all of the battery harnesses in this box, or all the different wiring harnesses in this box. Again, everything is super easy. It's labeled. It's super easy for anybody. Again, I am by no means an engineer. My buddy who's going to help me is not an engineer, but the two of us are going to be able to do this in a day, I promise you. And it's because everything's super easily labeled, and with how they've set up this trolling motor battery itself, it's super convenient for anyone to kind of put the system together, whether you're a mechanic or not. Coming into the actual components, this is the bidirectional charger. So this is basically going to use your starting batteries, the amperage that's being pulled from your engines, and help that keep the batteries tended to and charged. So this bidirectional charger is going to deliver 20 amps to your trolling motor battery, and then 12 volt 60 amp back from your trolling motor battery to your starting battery. So that's going to keep everything tapped up, help with the longevity of both your starting batteries and the longevity of your trolling motor battery as well. Last but not least, this is your traditional battery charger. Again, really high quality construction. It's going to mount right onto the side of right inside of your cabin. This is going to take 110, 120 volt from the shore, and it's going to allow you to fully charge your battery at the end of every day. Plug in your shore power, plug in your battery charger, and it'll be good to go. All right, my buddy KJ is giving me some crap here. He wants us to start getting this thing mounted so we can go deep dropping on Monday. So I'm gonna get right into it. I will see you guys inside the cabin where it is nice and dry, and we will get started on this installation. So see you in a second. All right, guys, we are in the cabin now. I've got everything laid out nice and easy here. Again, this Abyss kit is super simple. Everything's labeled. It makes it really easy to kind of connect and just kind of understand where everything's going. Everything has quick connects. All the cables are done beforehand, so you don't need to fumble around and make your own cable sets. But let's just talk about all the components here before we get into actually mounting and rigging everything. Again, super simple. Anyone can do it. I'm no engineer, but I think in an afternoon we should be able to get this done here. So starting with the actual heart of the entire operation. This is the 105 amp hour lithium battery, Seal lithium battery. Like I said, it has an integrated breaker, and it's got these quick connects for your charging inputs as well. So again, everything connects super simply. It's all on a base right here. You can take the battery on and off the base by removing these straps and pull the battery off. So we'll actually mount the base onto the floor of the cabin and then put the battery on and then strap it down. Moving on, we have the bi-directional charger. Bi-directional charger is going to take amperage from the starting batteries and charge the lithium battery, and then vice versa. You're going to have 12 volt 60 amp going from the lithium battery to the starting batteries, and then 20 amps going from the starting batteries to the lithium batteries. It's going to extend the life of the batteries, make sure that everything is always topped off and you'll always be charging while you're running. Next, we have the traditional battery charger, which is just a 100, it's going to take the 110 volt, 120 volt from the shore, and it's going to, again, charge your lithium battery, and we'll connect that guy up. Then we have the actual digital display itself. So we'll connect this with all the communication cables that come in the kit. One touch of the button is going to turn on and off the whole system, be able to check all my alarms, my voltage, my charging. So again, I never find myself out in the middle of the ocean with any charge, and I can make sure that the whole system is healthy at the entire time. In terms of tools that I'm gonna need, again, a set of screws. The kit comes with screws itself, but just because of how our boat is configured, we're actually gonna through bolt everything. Make sure it's nice and secure, and again, you know, get everything up on the wall so it's flush mounted, clean. And then again, we're gonna need a electric drill and a ratchet strap to get all the connections off of the terminals themselves. In terms of the cables, I think this is probably the best thing about this whole kit. It is impossible to remember where everything is going, or it would be impossible if everything wasn't labeled so easily. So again, thank you to the guys at Abyss for making this doable for guys like me. So first thing, we got the power cable set. This is the positive and negative power cable that goes from the battery to the trolling motor. So again, I'll just take one of these out real quick just so you can see it. And all these cable connections are super high quality, and they're waterproof, so you're good. This side is going to go to the battery itself, and then this is an open end that's going to be wired to the actual outlet itself, and then we'll show you guys running the wire from the lithium battery all the way up to the bow where we're going to have the trolling motor mounted itself. Next, we have all the cables to get the multi-directional charger set up. So again, the multi-directional charger is going to go from the starting battery to the charger, and then from the charger to the lithium battery, so you're getting power going both ways. Again, super simple. This is the positive side of it. So we've got these really simple quick connects. I'll show you why these quick connects are so cool real quick. Just looking at grabbing my bi-directional charger, you'll see everything's labeled, color-coded, super simple. And I'm just gonna line it up. So the ridges or the grooves are lined up. Push my button, and I should probably put it in the right side. And I should show you this way. Click it in, and you can't hear it, but just clicked right in there. So super simple. Again, take it out real quick. Need to go to the gym. But again, this is your positive, and then on this side you have your negative. And again, this is going to go from, so this is actually the charging input, which I'll show you if you come over here, KJ. I'll show you on this charging input. This is going to quick connect to the charging input number 2 and click right in there. Just like that. Here, click right. So everything, again, super easy, quick connects. And this is going to go onto the bi-directional charger. Got your black and your orange right here. And then this side we're gonna route through the whole of the boat, and then we're gonna put the negative, again, positive and negative on the starting batteries. So it's gonna keep the starting batteries tapped off, and then also the lithium battery tapped off as well. And then last but not least, this is the power cable set for the AC charger to the lithium battery. Like I said before, super simple. Clips right into the battery itself like that. Take that out, and this guy is going to be wired directly to the AC charger right here. And this AC charger, again, is rigged so that you could use it for any lithium batteries. But we'll just, again, cut these connections off and then hardwire it directly here because we're not going to be charging anything else. And then last but not least, we have all of our communication cables. So the communication cables are going to go from the battery and then the bidirectional charger to the digital display. Again, these are all NEMA connections, so super simple. But we'll have two main NEMA cables, one going from the battery to the digital display, the other going from the charger to the digital display, and then you have a bridge right here. So that's everything in the kit. It's going to be pretty quick to install. I'll show you where we're planning to do it on the inside here in a second once we get there. But again, super simple kit, and we're going to get after it. So stay tuned. All right, we got everything laid out here. So first things first, we're just going to figure out where we want to place everything in the cabin. I'm going to put both of the bidirectional charger and the AC charger on either side of this hole right here. Then I'll be routing my trolling motor cables from here through this hole and then into my starter batteries, and then upper rigging tube. I'll go up there and then I'll run all the way the length of the gunnel to the bow. Okay, so you see I got this battery right here. And what I'm thinking is probably put this charger right about there, and then put this AC charger probably right here. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Probably do it like this, so these cables are coming out the bottom, and then it's easy to plug this thing in. There you go, that AC charger in when we're at shore. So I'm gonna mark these up. I'm gonna leave plenty of space on the bottom so I can leave all of my extra cable, hidden underneath behind this box here, and then we'll get all of this mounted to the wall, and I'll take this out of the box and I will screw this into the floor, and then we'll have everything mounted, and all we have to do is really plug stuff in and run that trolling motor cable all the way to the bow, and we'll be kind of done. So pretty simple process. Again, I am going to get started here and I'll show you guys what we're doing. And then real quick also, we are going to probably just through bolt everything. You could probably screw it right in here, but this fiberglass is not super thick. So we're gonna through bolt everything just to make sure it's super secure. When we're bouncing, you don't flex the fiberglass too much, but it comes with screws. But again, we're just gonna bolt it. All right, first things first, let's mark out where we want this stuff put onto the wall. Got a pen. Like I said, we're gonna through bolt everything, otherwise I would just screw it right into the wall. But I will probably put it like right here. Just a little bit away from the wall, trying to make it as level as I can. And then just mark it real quick. Okay, then I'm gonna do the same thing for the DC. Figure out where I want it here. Put it pretty even up on the wall. We get as high as we can. Just mark that off really quick. The better you can mark it, the easier it's gonna be to do your holes. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm actually gonna mount the AC up here sideways because that's what I need to do for how the boat is laid out. So I'm gonna line that up and then get really good marking for my hole right there, right there, right there, and right there. Okay, so now I got all my holes lined up, and that's everything for the AC charger. And then the DC charger I already did over there. We should be good to go. And then I'm probably going to put the display. I haven't decided if I'm going to put the display right here or maybe on this wall, but we'll see once we get everything else mounted up what it looks like, and we'll have to make a decision there. Okay, as you can see, that guy is mounted on the ground. I'm going to get these straps back on here real quick. Make sure everything's staying flush. Okay, it's good to go. Give myself a little slack here. And then I'm going to lift this battery up. And I decided that I'm going to put the terminals towards the back of the boat so it's closer to that porthole there. And we'll go ahead and get this guy onto the mount. Move my straps out of the way here. Make sure everything is even now. Okay. And then we will strap this guy in. You guys see what I'm doing here. Then again, like I said, these are super simple. So put that right in there. And then strap that down, and that's nice and secure. And then do the same to the other side. That is also nice and secure. And then the battery is mounted securely in the box. So now we've got the chargers mounted, we've got the battery mounted, and now it's just time to run some cables. Okay, now looking at these cables. So again, we just want to make sure everything is snug, everything fits right before we keep going. So again, super easy. It's labeled to charger input 1. That's going to go in charger input 1. That's going from the bidirectional to the lithium battery. And then on this side, we have to charger input 2. That is going to go from the lithium battery to the AC charger. Again, snap that guy into place. Whoops. Okay, that's in there. And then right here, I've got the breaker connected to the positive terminal. Just to show you guys, that comes out like this really easily. Use 2 hands. Okay, so that comes out like that, goes back in, again, really simple, snaps into place, nice and securely, and then that goes onto the breaker, and then got a nut right there to finish off that connection, and then the last thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to connect the positive end to the trolling, or to the lithium battery. This will go from the lithium battery to the trolling motor at this end. That's going to go right here. And then the negative side is going to go right here. So that's everything pretty much wired. Again, on the bidirectional charger, again, pretty simple. This is the positive that's going to go to the positive that's going to go to the starting battery, the negative that's going to go to the starting battery. Again, this is coming back and going to the charger input. So that's actually going to charge the lithium battery. So again, super simple. Everything's nice and neat in here, and then we're going to get everything, all the cables routed, and finish up. Okay, the first thing that I want to hook up is the AC charger. So on one end of the AC charger, This is actually a port for the Manta solar panel. That's an optional accessory. I don't have that, so we're going to leave that alone right now. There's a fuse right here. So we'll leave that alone. But as you can see, you have a positive and negative end right here. And again, this says 2 AC charger. Really hard to screw up. I'll show you right there. So I'm going to go from here to the AC charger, which has these 2 terminals at the end. I'm going to cut these terminals off and then hardwire this right here. And then all the extra wire I'm going to coil up and I'll mount on the wall. So again, it's nice and neat. Okay, so since I got some extra cable here, I'm just going to coil it up and get it out of the way. And then I will put this on the wall. I'm not going to cut anything short just in case I need it in the future for whatever reason. So I'm going to coil this up and I will get that zip tied down. And then this will eventually be mounted on the wall, so it's out of the way. That's good to go. And then from here, I'm going to connect the output, the AC charger, to the output on the to the charger input on the lithium battery. Like I said before, this is a Manta charger, port right here. I'm not going to use this, so ignore this. I'm just going to take this. I'm going to use these butt connectors, and I'm going to connect these things together right here. So I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to splice them with a butt connector. Get this guy going. Take off these connections here. We're going to get that guy off. Expose some wire in there. Okay. Got one butt connector on the positive side already. That's good to go. Then on the negative side, I need an additional butt connector. I got this guy right here. I should probably crimp this down before I keep going. So got those ends off, and then I'm gonna crimp this down here. Give it a good crimp, make sure it's nice and secure. Push that guy back in there. Again, another crimp right there on the center. And that's positive side, negative side, same thing. Rookie hour right now. Get that guy in there. Crimp that guy down there. Oh. Clearly didn't crimp it hard enough. Okay. That should be secure. Hit that with the torch. That's one side. Okay. Our AC is officially connected. We will hit it with some electrical tape. Keep that connection secure. Okay, now we are hooked up to the AC charger and ready to mount it on the wall. Okay, so that is all zip tied together, and then we'll just put that on the wall right there. And then that's the AC charger all hooked up. Okay, and then with all of this, I'm gonna get everything snugged up onto the next component, which is the bidirectional. We're going to zip tie all of this together. The positive and negatives that come off of the lithium battery, get this nice and neat, and then we've got it plugged in here, and then we're going to run these cables right here to our starting batteries, and then we'll connect those starting batteries. Keep everything neat. You can always take zip ties off later if you don't need them. Put another one right here, and then we'll probably put another zip tie attached to the wall right here, and then maybe one on the ground right here just to keep everything neat. These are the cables that are going to the starting battery, so we'll just get these guys connected. So again, it goes in nice and neat to the port hole, and then we can coil up the excess cable that's in there. You could also cut it down, but just for right now, we're going to coil it up. Might cut it down at a later point. Those guys connected there. And then this is going to, like I said, the starting batteries over here. And you can see I already have these cables pulled through right here. So we'll connect those to the terminals on the starting batteries, those blue ones right there. And we'll be pretty good to go. Sorry, the black ones are the starting batteries, not the blue ones. Okay, went ahead and coiled up all the excess of these cables that are coming from the bidirectional charger to the starting batteries. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up these terminal ends to my starting batteries right now, and then that's also going to be all hooked up, and all we'll have to do is run the cables to the trolling motor and get that all mounted, and we'll be good to go. Again, this has been a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, so feeling pretty good. It's definitely going to be a little bit hard to show you, but you'll see there's a positive end on the starting battery, and then there's the negative end. So I'm going to take these connections off of these terminals off, and then I will put the bidirectional charger cable onto those terminals, and then that will be completely hooked up. Okay, I've got battery switches disconnected. I'm going to loosen that guy up. Negative, positive on the starting battery. Then I'm gonna put the negative on here, and then I'm gonna put the positive. So might be a little bit difficult to show you, but hopefully your boat maker made this a little bit easier for you. Here's the negative going on. All right, we are putting that guy on here. A little hard to show you that negative terminal in the back, but if you can see, we are live and charging. So that is the bidirectional charger all hooked up, and then we have the AC also hooked up, ready to be plugged in, and we are almost there. Everything is labeled nice and neat, and you can see I even hooked up the communication cable there. Probably gonna mount this on the wall right here, but this is the display, and again I'll show you the app interface as well. But right now you can see that we are at 99% charge. If we were delivering battery, this is again already completely done, but completely charged up, but you'd see your readout here for amperage, and then here's your readout for how many volts you're delivering. So again, we're at 99%. We used this all day yesterday, super rough weather. I think we probably got down to like 85%. Had the trolling motor running for, I don't know, maybe 6 hours all day yesterday. So super cool system. Again, great to have everything right here. Here's the battery all hooked up, going again into our battery compartment. Starting batteries, everything's hooked up there. And then again, we've got our AC charger and then our bidirectional. So, okay, we have the battery mounted, we have the bidirectional mounted and hooked up. We have the AC hooked up, everything is charging. We are pretty much good to go. The last step is to run the cables up to the bow of the boat so we can plug it into the trolling motor, and then we will be rocking. So we're gonna run these cables real quick and put the receptacle for the trolling motor up on the bow of the boat, and then we will be done. We'll show you the Sea Swivel mount right after that. It's gonna be real quick and easy, and then we will be fishing. So again, thanks everybody. It has been a pleasure to put this thing together again. I can't tell you how much easier it is than doing lead acids like we did last time. I mean, way cleaner, way easier. So we're looking forward to it. So now last thing we have to do, which we already started, is we're gonna route our cables that are gonna go to the bow of the boat for the trolling motor through this tube. It's gonna go up in the back over there, and then you'll see underneath the gunnel, if my buddy KJ wants to move out of the way. Snake is coming out right there, and then that is going to go all the way to the bow of the boat to the Sea Swivel and trolling motor. As you can see again, just because the cables weren't long enough with what was provided. We have to run these cables all the way back into the cabin and then connect them ultimately to the battery over here. And then we will be done. Okay, last step. We've got this positive cable going up, which is going to go underneath the gunnel to the outlet. And again, if your trolling motor was closer, you could just use these regular cables that come with it. We're just actually basically just making an extension for this. So we're going to route that cable up there. It's a little bit dark, so it's going to be difficult to show you, but we will show you it once it's routed. Again, just attaching this cable to a snake and then running it all the way through the tube up the gunnel, and we will be ready to attach it to the female end of the plug, and then we'll plug it in and we will be all done. So in the home stretch here. Okay, now we've got these positive and negative cables run all the way up the gunnel, and we are going to connect them to the provided harnesses, which will go from the lithium battery all the way up to the trolling motor. So I'm going to run these behind the batteries in the battery box, make it real simple. And again, if your trolling motor was closer to the battery, it would be a lot easier, but we just had to extend it a little bit because this boat is a little bit on the large side. But okay, and now I've got the positive and negative trolling motor batteries. Here's a positive and then negatives on that quick connect right now. Routed through that same hole that I had the bidirectional charger routed through, and I got it coming out right here. And then I have the wires that I routed all the way to the bow of the boat right here. And I'm just going to crimp these guys together, and then we will have power going to the bow of the boat. Okay, now I've just got this little splicer here. So I'm going to take the splicer and I'm going to go from the negative side and put it on the smaller side here. And then crank that thing down. Like that. And then that is going to connect to the negative side. That is going to the bow of the boat. Just like that. Okay, there's one. Same thing for the positive. Again, big one going in one side. And the same thing with the positive side. Already got one side in there. Putting the other side in real quick. And just like that, we are powered up. Okay, and we're going to connect the negative there. And then I popped this breaker to make sure that there's no power going to it, but get that flipped around there. Put that on there. And we will get that tightened down a little bit more snug with a ratchet. And I'm going to, just for my OCD's sake, put one more zip tie right here. And then we are clean and good to go. We've got the Abyss Infinite Series fully installed. We've got both the chargers in, we got the battery in, the power line run to the bow of the boat, and now we've got to put the Sea Swivel on and mount our Rodan, and we will be good to go. So we're going to walk you through this. Again, Sea Swivel is super easy. It's literally just doing pretty much 5 holes in the boat and a couple bolts, and we will be ready to rock and roll. So again, thank you guys to Abyss, West Marine, and Sea Swivel. We'll walk you through this install real quick and just kind of give you a how-to, and then we will test her out, and we'll be fishing in a couple hours here. So super excited. I'm going to show you all the parts that you need for this Sea Swivel install, and then we'll get after it. So thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned. Okay, and real quick, I got everything laid out that you're going to need for the installation right here. Obviously, I've got my trolling motor on this side, and then all the parts that come in the Sea Swivel kit are right here. So here's the actual swiveling piece of the mount. This is the backing plate. This is the base that goes on top of the gunnel. And again, there's your washer. Here's all your mounting hardware. Again, comes really easy and labeled. In terms of what you're going to need from the trolling motor side, you will need your mounting puck. Again, these are different for every manufacturer, but Sea Swivel fits pretty much all of the major trolling motor mounts. Here's your quick connect. I'm going to need some Loctite, Bluetooth 42 for my bolts. I'm going to need some 5200 fast cure to secure it to the gunnel of the boat. In terms of a bit to drill out the main center 3/4 inch bolt, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch hole saw, and then I'm going to need to use a 1 1/16 inch socket to tighten that down. And then again, a quick ratchet set with a 1/2 inch driver included that I can use with this socket. It's important. And then I'm going to get some marine grease from the other boat to grease up the bearings. And then I've got just a regular electric drill. So that's everything we need. Again, we're going to get into this install real quick. Should be nice and simple, and we'll knock it out and we'll test her out. So see you in a sec. Okay, first thing we're going to do is take this mounting puck and we're going to install it onto the actual swiveling component of the Sea Swivel. And then we're going to put it on the bow of the boat, get it mapped out, make sure that we have enough clearance for the trolling motor to hang off the bow of the boat, and then see how it's going to swing back inside. So you can see there's a bunch of different hole patterns on here. I already looked at this, and the hole pattern that works for my Rodan, this is an extra large puck, just so you know, for a 96 inch, are these front holes here. And I went to the shop and made sure I grabbed the right bolts for it. So these are the correct holes right here. And then these are going to be 2 inch by 1/4 inch machine bolts, or machine head screws rather. So we're going to get these covered with some Loctite, and we're going to screw these in, and then we'll have the quick connect installed. So just so you know, trolling motor right here is going to go onto this puck, and then with this U, it's going to go inside, so I can leave the Sea Swivel on the boat at all times. But if I wanted to pull the trolling motor off for whatever reason, I can just take this out, and then I'll pull the trolling motor off, and this will stay on the boat. But everything here is going to stay on. So I'm going to get this Loctite on here and then just screw this up real quick. Okay, so I've got my puck lined up here, and then I've got my Loctite and my bolts, and I'm just going to put this down so I don't make a mess. I'm going to put some Loctite just on the end of these guys, just to make sure that nothing fuses unlike it's supposed to. And I'll get these screws started here. Everything lined up properly. Okay, there's one. There's two. Oh, a little bit extra there. Let's pull that from there. 3. And 4. Okay, and now I'm going to screw these down real quick. Put my drill on a lower setting, and let's just get these screwed down. Alright, and that's good to go there. Okay, next thing, we're going to put the mount on the gunnel and then situate the Sea Swivel on it to make sure that we have enough clearance on the gunnel, and then we'll put the trolling motor onto the quick release mount temporarily, just to make sure that everything is in the right spot. So KJ is going to put the washer on right there, and then we're going to put the Sea Swivel onto the mount itself right there, just like that. Okay, Now everything's on, so we're gonna put it in the deployed position. So put it forward there, KJ. Okay, so we're gonna bring this back, the whole mount back, so that this is about flush with the gunnel. Bring it forward a little bit, maybe. Probably right about there is right, I would say. Well, a little bit hanging off, maybe a little bit more forward. Right about there is probably going to be right. Again, you want this pretty close to flush, but you want to make sure that it clears the actual gunnel right there. So you want the puck pretty much flush with the gunnel. And again, with these Rodan mounts, with the Rodan, they recommend that this is at a 45-degree angle, you know, going out to the, from the boat to the water line in a deployed position. We're going to make sure it's at a 45-degree angle. I think on some of the other mounts, you could theoretically have it, you know, going straight out this way, you know, so that it was, I guess, probably more like that, perpendicular. But again, with the Rodan, they said it tracks better at 45 degrees. So that's about where it's going to be situated on the bow of the boat here. But now that we have this right here, we're going to hold it in position, and then we're going to put this trolling motor on and make sure that everything is situated properly. Okay, and then I'm going to put this plate back on here and we'll bolt it down, and then we'll do those other holes. And again, just want to make sure that we put the plate back on, the mounting plate, just to make sure that the pin was in the correct position. Pin's always going to be in the back left, you know, as it's facing outwards, so that's double check. But again, just feel free to make sure that, yeah, just like that, that the entire plate assembly looks correct once it's on there, and then pull it off there. And again, like I said, that pin is going to be in that back left position here. So we're going to bolt this down real quick, do these other holes, and then we will finish up. Okay, so I've got this one bolt in here. I'm just going to bolt it on the back, just temporarily, obviously. So we've got one fixed position while we're doing these other screws here. Okay, so that's good. And then I can go in and do the same thing. Just to be safe, I'm gonna do pilot hole again. Okay. Okay, that's one more done there. Again, just to make sure. I don't even need to bolt that one on for the sake of this purpose. And I will go in and I'll just draw out these last two. I don't think I'm gonna need pilot holes for these last two, honestly. And two, and there's all our holes drilled. Now we can pull this whole plate off. Okay, next we're going to take this 4200 and we're going to apply it on here. It's coming out the side, so we will get back to you once that is on there. Now we got our 4200 on here, and we are going to line everything up, and we are going to get it down. This is the first step of the quote-unquote final installation. Again, I've got my holes lined up already. Try to get it as good as possible. And that is pretty good right there. Move it around, make sure all of our holes are good. And then we can take our bolts and we can put them through here. And on this washer, we put a bunch of grease on here. Make sure everything's smooth, all of our connections are good. Got our 4 bolts. 1. Do our corners first. 2. 3. Okay, so I got this guy in here. I got my washer on as well. It's got grease underneath the washer. I got Loctite on all of these guys. And then I put an ample amount of marine grease onto my main bolt. And then we're going to put the plate onto here. So let's put the plate on here. Everything's lined up. And then we're going to take our pin right here and we're going to put it inside that main section here. So it'll be a little tight. Ratchet it down. Okay, that's in there. And then we're gonna do the bearing assembly next and the backing plate, and then we'll be all done. I've got my backing plate right here. I'm going to line up the backing plate. Okay, as you can see there, everything is on. Backing plate's on, so got my brother holding it on the other side, and we're gonna get this main bolt on here. Okay, we got this thing all installed. As you can see, I showed you the underneath side, so just finished up these bolts, tightened everything up, and you can see on the bottom here, got that backing plate all installed, so she's not going anywhere. Again, then this has come down here to this ram mount. It's going to get a new ram mount here, just reattach this to the trolling motor itself, but that'll lock in right there, and then we'll show you rotating it really quickly. Okay, and then, like I said, super easy to put this thing in the water. All I have to do is rotate this here until it clicks, and then while I'm in the boat, I can launch the trolling motor. Super simple, just like that. That locks into place, and that's all done. When I'm done, with one hand, pull that guy up, and all by myself, I can launch and unlaunch or deploy and mount my trolling motor. And we just took the trolling motor off, we're storing it, and there's the Sea Swivel. So that'll just exist on the boat like that. And there's the trolling motor ready for storage, and quick and easy. And then last thing we have to do again is just, we'll have to put a new plug here because we need to get a new plug, but we got a new plug and we'll install it probably down here somewhere so it stays nice and dry. But that's the whole system. And just like that, we are on the North Drop. We got a couple queens going. Trolling motor's doing great. You can see we got that Sea Swivel in here. Got everything charging up. And we are fishing. Alright guys, we have been on the Rodan Abyss for, I think, an hour, probably 3 hours, 4 hours now, something like that. And we are still at 100% charge, so everything is going great. Pretty cool. We're doing some deep dropping while spot locked, which is not something I've ever done before. So super sick. Thank you guys for watching. Can't tell you how dope it is to have the system on here. So we will get after it and see you later. Thanks guys.